Hey, welcome to 49ers After Dark. That's Jessie Naylor. I'm Grant Cohn. OTAs are underway. We got our own footage to look at of Trey Lance and Sam Darnold, and even don't sleep on Brandon Allen is what we learned yesterday. We got to talk about under the radar players, rookies we're going to start, all that stuff. I guess we got to start with quarterbacks though. What I thought was interesting was we were all on the lookout for who gets what reps, and that was pretty cut and dry. Lance gets the ones, Darnold 2, Brandon Allen 3. But then there's interviews afterward. And now we're reading into well, Brock came out first, and then Darnold came out second, and Trey came out third. And should we read into the order in which they spoke? So let's talk about this quarterback hierarchy. How do you read it, Jesse?
Well, can we give a shout out to the 49ers, by the way? They did such a good job with this because let's be honest for a second. If we were taking bets prior to the press conference, Grant, of would any quarterback speak, most of us would have been like, nah, it's going to be like Fred Warner or CMC or, whoever, right? We would not have thought at all that one quarterback was going to speak. At least I didn't. And I think
I didn't think any quarterbacks were going to speak. I think the whispers around the media room was like, it's probably going to be non-quarterbacks. They'll just dodge.
Yeah. And it was all three. They did all three. It's like, wow, they just... way to just feed the content out there for
Thank you.
They knew what they were doing. So I thought that was funny. And I think a lot of people are reading into the order in which they spoke. And I actually took it a little bit differently. If you really break it down, they went in reverse order of what the hierarchy is right now. And Brock Purdy right now is not healthy. So obviously he would be number 3 out of those quarterbacks.
Correct.
Number 2 would be Sam Darnold, who took not the first team reps, and number 1 would be Trey, and that's who came out last.
Because you save your marquee act for the end. You don't just lead off with the marquee headlining act. Sorry.
Right. So that's the way I took it. But long term, it didn't mean a lot to me. One thing I do want to say, though, is Trey Lance, to me, you just had maybe you've been around him more. And in the room, it might feel different than what it comes across on camera. He had a different vibe to me. He just felt like he was very comfortable. He had the joke with you at the end, was like, well, it's not like the 49ers told me to seek help because I'm sad or anything, and he kind of laughed it off and made a joke.
I didn't mean it like that, by the way.
No, I know you. I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
But I just felt like he was very comfortable in his skin and in his position. Was like, you know what? I'm here. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to get everything that I got. And whatever happens, happens. And I'm cool with the outcome. Like, I'm in a good spot mentally. I'm great. And that's the vibe that he portrayed to me. And so I don't know how this whole thing's going to shake out. If Purdy's healthy, I imagine he's the day 1 starter. But Trey, to me, felt different. He just felt like his energy was different than what it had been in the past. He wasn't trying.
Right. I suppose if Brock Purdy's back for training camp and he gets a long ramp up, then he would start week 1 based on what he did last year. But there's no guarantee of that happening. And until that happens, the competition is between Trey and Sam. And I could see why Trey would be confident. I mean, nothing against Sam Darnold. I mean, he has talent. Obviously, he was the number 3 pick in the draft. He's only 25, but he doesn't exude confidence. I'm sorry. Would anyone disagree with that? If anyone disagrees, raise their hand. He doesn't. So, I mean, it's got to make Trey feel a little bit more confident. Like, man, this guy's got his own issues to deal with.
Yeah, he's 25. He's been in the league for a while. And guess what? It's not easy to be a quarterback in the NFL. I'm not the only one that's struggling over here. And I think that, coupled with probably just feeling like he's in a better spot, actually working on his mechanics, hanging out with Patrick Mahomes. Now he's got the whole thing with Josh Allen coming up, and gets to go back and work on his mechanics even more. He probably just feels really good. And also, I don't know if you had caught this, Grant, at all. I felt like, and maybe you knew this, but I felt like you had asked the question about the sports psychologist. Like it was the first time we had heard it. He'd actually talked about it a year ago. I don't know if you remember, but he did talk about it. Then he was seeing a sports psychologist. And so this isn't anything new. It's not like
I wouldn't be surprised if Brock Purdy is. I mean, honestly, every single player on the team should have an independent sports psychologist that their agent sets them up with. Could only help.
I think so.
There's no stigma. There's nothing bad about it. Yeah, seriously. My wife's a therapist. I'm an advocate. I'm not trying to get her. business.
It's
Though, I'm
good.
just
It's
saying.
good.
Yeah.
By the way, you can reach out to Grant's wife and she can be your therapist. Some of y'all in the chat need it.
Honestly.
I don't care. Some of y'all in the chat need it, and it's okay.
Wouldn't it be funny if some of the players on the Niners went to my wife and they're like, this freaking guy, Grant's constantly riding me? And she's like, yeah, I don't know about that guy.
She can't say anything to you
Yeah,
or
honestly,
them
right?
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, the way I look at it with this hierarchy is what's interesting is Trey Lance is working on his mechanics. I had a throwing expert, Austin Carter Samuels, on my show today, and he really explained like the process he's on. He's trying to stride less, use more of a rotational force instead of a linear, like what's the word?
I know what you're saying. I know exactly.
Weight transfer, less weight transfer, less stride, man. I hate when that happens on live television or whatever you want to call that. So he's in the process. He's doing better. What's interesting about Purdy is people aren't really that impressed. He's not like an artist with the ball in his hand, like, Aaron Rodgers. What's so impressive about him is his it factor. Like him and Trey both have this it factor, this confidence, this moxie, this leadership that young guys don't necessarily have. And while Sam seems to be the kind of guy that quarterback coaches like, they look at him throw, they're like, yeah, okay, all right, okay. But it just never, there's a disconnect with him, something, and I don't know, you could call it decision-making or leadership or whatever, confidence. There is something seriously lacking with Sam, at least so far.
Yeah, I think that showed up. I was actually texting you during the press conference and telling him we came away with the same exact thought. But we were talking about it, and basically, it's just, to me, he may exude confidence on the field with his teammates in a huddle. I don't know. But when I look at a franchise quarterback and they get in front of the media and use a lot of filler words and ums and uhs, and I just, that puts me off as a fan. It doesn't give me confidence that he's the guy. When I listen to Brock Purdy talk and Trey Lance talk, I'm like, oh yeah, these two are leaders. These are franchise guys. I can get behind this. Doesn't mean that Sam can't be that guy because of the way that he speaks to the media, but it is really hard to make that type of guy the face of your franchise.
And again, like, so what does that say? Like, he went third in the draft, not because of his leadership or CEO mentality. It's like throwing coaches really like the way he throws the ball, which is wild to me because he's never been like a high completion percentage guy. Like, he can do things that are difficult, I guess, or things that, only the top 1% throwers in the world can do. But there's so much more to being a quarterback than that. Ask Zach Wilson. So we'll see. But that's the core. I think you're right, man. I think the quarterback hierarchy is, Brock, we're going to say a bunch of nice things, but as far as, he's not here. So he can go out first, but he's essentially on IR for now. And then Brock is next. And then we don't even show Brandon Allen. Sorry, Brandon. And then Trey.
I did want to talk about your show earlier with the quarterback coach. That, first of all, that guy was eccentric. He had me cracking up.
Hell yeah.
He was super.
I liked him too because he's a Bay Area guy. He's from San Jose. I feel like I grew up with a bunch of Austin Carter Samuels in my life. He was dope. I liked him.
He was letting the F-bombs fly. That was for sure.
Hell yeah. He was like, before he asked me before, he's like, is it okay? Can I was like, dude, absolutely. I get a little animated, man. I'm like, all right, man, it's good.
It was great. As soon as the camera come on, it was like he popped into the screen, was like, what's up?
Hell yeah.
Here I am.
I thought it was so good. Yeah. I thought it was tight. Anyway, I learned a lot about it, though, that rotational force.
I just wanted to talk in general about that. And this is not a knock on him or anything like that, but it is fun to listen to guys like him speak, because what I notice is every quarterback coach looks at things a little bit differently. And there is no right answer. There is no right answer. And so that's why, Trey going from Quincy Avery to John Beck and now to Christensen, sometimes it's as simple as communication. Maybe there's a communication thing there that helps out. Maybe the other two guys were actually trying to teach the same thing, but they couldn't get through to Trey for whatever reason. They just weren't on the same page. And so I think,
or maybe he had three different dudes trying to teach three different things, and now he's finally got one voice, one coach, and you know what I mean. All kind of things could be going on. Yes,
there's so much, but it's just it's interesting to me that you could ask 10 different quarterback coach, hey, what's wrong with any quarterback, insert quarterback. What do you see with their mechanics? And all 10 of them would have something completely different to say.
What I liked about Austin, it felt like, and maybe I'm wrong, but it felt like he knew Jeff Christensen pretty well, or knew of how he coaches, and had a pretty good idea of what he's going to try to do with Trey Lance. And by looking at the film, you can see, okay, yeah, he's in the process of doing those things. And what Austin said is Trey Lance strides a lot, and what he could learn, like he could be more like Rodgers, who really doesn't stride. He has a hip rotation and a wrist flick, and it's like a almost like a drop down 3/4 release where you get a full extension and you release the ball parallel to your body, not out in front. And it's like there's all different ways to throw a ball. That to me as a baseball player is a very infielder way to throw the ball. Quick release, get it out of your hands, leaning right. Like I was an outfielder, and as an outfielder, you're making long throws. So you
more
do like
elongated,
yeah, it's over the top because, well, first of all, you have a crow hop. You're like throwing yourself into the throw, and it's over the top because it's a lot of one hop throws, and you want the ball to bounce straight and not off to the right when you're throwing to third base or to home. So there's different ways to throw, and it's like Trey's got a little bit more of that like launching himself forward kind of a throw. And I think what you're saying is like, in the pocket when you're throwing RPOs, all this stuff, you're kind of throwing off your back foot, and you want that ability to just throw quick slants off your back foot with your hips and your wrist the way, Rodgers and Mahomes does. So now he's working out with Mahomes. He sees it. He's got the coach. It seems like something that's going to Austin said it took him 3 years to ingrain it for himself, but he says he can coach it in 3 months, which was rich. I like that part. He's like, I can do it in 3 months. All right. Maybe Trey can do it in 3 months.
Yeah, which also means that, if he believes that, then he probably believes that other people he respects, like Christensen, who that came across that he does, can also teach it potentially in 3 months. It just depends on the communication. And so I thought that was cool. And then one thing that he said at the end that does seem to line up with any quarterback coach that I've talked to is mechanics don't have to be perfect for you to be elite either.
Right.
Like,
look at Purdy.
Yes. Yeah. We're going to constantly teach it.
Yeah. Purdy isn't out there winning because of his arm and his mechanics and what he does with the ball. Like it's all the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's a triumph of intangibles. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So there you go.
The thing about Trey is he has so many of those intangibles.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So many.
Yeah. And we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. It's all about reaching that potential. But there definitely was some mechanic things, regardless of how you look at it. Every quarterback needs to constantly work on them, and they constantly do. And the good ones make it a strength and continue to get better. And that's what Trey's got to figure out right now. And that's great.
Absolutely. Seems like he's doing the right things, working with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
We often talk about franchise quarterback. Do the Niners have one? They haven't had one since, Jeff Garcia. And I don't even know if he was a franchise quarterback. He was close. Yeah. The Niners are talking like they have 3 franchise-like quarterbacks, which is a whole new concept. Franchise-like. It's like Diet Coke. All right. Tell me what a franchise quarterback is. Like, what's the definition? And how likely is it that the Niners have 2 of them?
Oh, man. First of all, the likelihood that they have 2 of them is almost impossible. That is really hard to do. It's happened. We're talking maybe 3 or 4 times in the history of football that a team has had 2 of them. The 49ers luckily have been one with Joe Montana and Steve Young. You had the Packers with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, but it is rare and it's hard to come across. I think this topic is interesting because it all depends on what your definition of franchise quarterback is. And I think that also comes into how you look at Brock Purdy potentially. And I think the base of your argument really can cause a lot of division on the overall thought of a guy like Brock Purdy. So, for example, I think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, an underrated quarterback. I think he's been top 12 in the NFL for many, many years. But I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. I think he's the type of guy that if you pay big time money to, you actually set your franchise back. I think guys like him, Kyler Murray, Derek Carr, they all fit into that mold where it's like, yeah, they're good. They're good enough to get paid and they're good enough to be your quarterback for 5, 7, 10 years. But are you really going to win with them? And if you pay them and start to strip away talent, are they truly a franchise guy?
Right. And it's like what you could do is give him like a multi-year contract, backload it, have the first year have like a low salary cap number, put him on the 49ers and see if he wins. Like that's the only way it could work. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
You have to get crafty. So for me, franchise quarterbacks are guys that can carry a franchise, guys that when you pay them,
that's what it is.
They can continue to win regardless of what's
making
around them.
$50 million a year or more.
Yes.
That's it. So when they talk about like, can Brock Purdy be a franchise quarterback? Excuse me if I'm a little skeptical that you can pay that skill set $50 million a year and still win. Like, I don't even think the Niners are going there right now. And I feel like a lot of people are, and that feels hasty. I think we need to see a little bit more. Yeah. That's why I feel like Niner fans keep holding on to the Trey Lance dream. Because it's so clear that of the three in the room, he has the best chance to become a guy who could actually be worth $50 million because he theoretically has that skill set. Not that he's that quarterback now, but that's the whole thing. Like the best case scenario for Sam Darnold, I don't think is a guy making $50 million and winning. Same for Brock. But again, I'm no quarterback expert. I just knew that Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't it since like 2017. But what do I know?
Yeah, I think when it equates to Brock, first of all, with all these guys, not Sam, by the way, but with Trey, Brock, even guys like Trevor Lawrence who have started out good, Jalen Hurts who is coming off of a good year, Mac Jones who maybe has not started out great. To me, I still want to see more, and so I'm not going to say it's impossible. I have a projection. I don't think that Brock will reach that franchise quarterback status, but he could. I mean, it's not impossible, but the good thing is for the 49ers, they don't need him to be that right now with the money he's making. They can win and build the team and structure it around him to kind of insulate him. And then we'll see when it's time to get paid. Do they believe he's that guy or not? But the likelihood that the 49ers have one, let alone two, it's they don't. I'm just going to be blunt. They don't.
This Brock Purdy thing, like, would he even be considered in the conversation of a potential franchise quarterback if he was on any other team? No disrespect to a real nice rookie, not a real nice rookie season, a great rookie season. Would anyone even talk about him being potentially a franchise quarterback if he was on any other team? If not, come on. I mean, we got to I feel like we're being a little sentimental with Brock Purdy. Okay. Like, what he did was great and he came through and it was, a Cinderella story. Like, okay, all that's over with. This is professional sports. None of that means anything anymore. What's his actual value? Is it franchise caliber?
I also, but again, I think this is where the crux of the debate starts is a lot of people disagree with this definition of franchise quarterback. A lot of people would say that a guy like Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, those are franchise quarterbacks because they're good enough. They put up numbers. They win regular season games. And
but there's a big difference between Dak and Kirk and Brock. I mean, Dak and
right
Kirk
now there is, yes,
can put it down the field far. And I know that a lot of people feel that doesn't matter. Okay, you don't have to stress. You don't have to stretch the field and stress the defense. Yeah, I disagree.
I disagree as well, but if Brock reached top 15, top 12 quarterback status, I think that could be a realistic thing. But to me, that's not a franchise quarterback. So that's where I think it's likely the 49ers certainly don't have two. And let's just be real. Even in the 2021 draft that was loaded with all the quarterbacks, and I love Trey Lance and Trevor Lawrence, and some of the other guys were pretty good and whatever. One thing that I said then is the likelihood that two of these guys pan out to be the guy for their team is very slim to none. And I know that we're looking at the draft now and saying there's 5 guys here that we legit think could be career franchise quarterbacks. And back then I said, actually, the likelihood is there's going to be one or none. And right now it looks like there might only be one out of that draft. And so now to think, okay, is it possible that the 49ers have two? I think that is almost a 0% chance. Maybe they have one. Maybe time will prove that out. But right now, I just I don't see it necessarily, and I definitely don't see 2 happening.
Yeah, it's much more likely that they have none than they have 2. Come on.
Yeah.
The Niners always like to put 2 quarterbacks against each other and be like, it's like Joe and Steve all over again. Like, no, it's not
No,
like
it's not.
that
No, it's not.
at all.
It's actually
So,
nothing like that. Can I tell you?
actually
It's
nothing like that.
Yeah.
Definition of a franchise quarterback. Yeah.
Do
Kirk
you
Cousins.
agree though that maybe that's where the debate should start? Because if you've got 2 people that view franchise quarterback differently, then a view of Brock Purdy could be completely skewed based off of that. If this argument if you don't meet eye to eye on this argument, then there's
Yeah.
no way you're going to meet eye to eye on an argument of a quarterback, not even Brock Purdy, but just any quarterback that's say 10 to 15 in the league.
I know.
You're just not.
I just feel like it's kind of a 49ers thing to take a guy who's a little small and have a really modest arm and say he's Joe Montana. Like, he's got all the intangibles. It doesn't matter. Like, and no other fan base thinks that way about quarterbacks. Only the Niners. They're always romanticizing the guy, the underdog with the modest arm. Like, really, who are the last quarterbacks with as modest of an arm as, I don't want to say weak because that it triggers people, as modest of an arm as Purdy to win a Super Bowl? Like, Peyton Manning, when he was old, one of the greatest leaders and offensive coordinators with like a number 1 defense. He did it. He didn't even play the whole season. Brock Osweiler was playing some of the season. Drew Brees did it like at he was 27, 28. And it's funny, like, as someone who's a quote unquote top 10 quarterback all time, he never sniffed another Super Bowl after that. It seemed like every time he had a great year and then would get to the playoffs and then it would fall apart. Am I wrong about that? Drew Brees.
No, I
mean,
everyone
says like best case scenario is Brock Purdy. I don't know.
Well, it's funny because I've had the debate in the past, and I remember when I first started having this debate, a lot of people pushed back, but now I feel like a lot of people agree with me. I'm taking Ben Roethlisberger any day of the week over Drew Brees. It's not even close to me.
What teams would do to Drew Brees, they would do stuff like they would rush 3, drop 8, and play like 3 deep, 5 underneath, and be like, all right, check it down, Drew. Go ahead. Check it down, Drew. I dare you. And it's like that. He would get a lot more of that stuff in the playoffs, and he would kind of fall apart. That's
he
the kind of
was
stuff.
A dome player his whole career. That makes a big difference too. If your arm isn't up to snuff, then being in a dome is very important. I mean, and that was kind of my argument. If you had taken Drew Brees and put him in Pittsburgh, would he have a career even close to what he had? But I could see Ben Roethlisberger breaking all sorts of passing records sitting in a dome in New Orleans. So
also, if you think Brock Purdy is Jeff Garcia-esque or Joe Montana-esque, go back and watch those guys again. Go watch young Joe Montana. Joe Montana at 25 in 1981 when he was going 13-3 and winning the Super Bowl. Like, he was a playmaker. He could absolutely push the ball down the field when he had to. It wasn't the system, but he could do it. Much better than Brock. I don't need to turn this into a dump on Brock.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Definition of a franchise quarterback. I'm not saying Trey's the definition. He's got a ways to go before he proves that too.
But even Jeff Garcia,
it's Kirk Cousins.
You brought up Jeff Garcia. He wasn't a franchise quarterback. He wasn't. He was cool he had a couple cool years and he did some really good things. But Jeff Garcia, overall, if you look at Jeff Garcia, overall, not a great quarterback.
Dude, the 13-year-old me is getting really pissed at you right now.
I know you are. Down. I know. Oh,
hold
this
on.
is fun.
Let me go back.
Hold on.
Let me go back. Would you consider Donovan McNabb a franchise quarterback?
Let me replay this for you real quick.
He went to 3 straight Pro Bowls.
Just for everybody in the chat, we pulled the fan out of Grant for just a second.
Dude, I'm a huge Jeff Garcia fan. You can't say that. But yeah, no, I guess I'd have to agree. I mean, dude, he went 12-4 in 2001 at 31 years old. He threw 32 touchdowns. I mean, he had some really good 4,200 yards. He had like 3 good seasons in a row. But yeah.
And then it just kind of.
But then he came back in 07 with Tampa and had a Pro Bowl year.
Yeah,
man, one of the more underrated quarterbacks of all time. But maybe not a franchise quarterback.
For sure,
maybe
but not a franchise guy. He was really good.
I'm sorry, the fan of me won't agree with you. I can't allow that.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah. I love Jeff. Anyway, Ivan says, our Brad Johnson will be Kirk Cousins.
Oh, gosh.
You know, there's a lot of similarities there because before before Brad Johnson won the Super Bowl with Tampa, he played for Minnesota and Washington. True story. Here's the thing, though. Brad Johnson won the Super Bowl with the Niners with the Bucks when he was 34. If the Niners get Kirk Cousins next year, he'll be 36. That's getting kind of old.
36.
I think it's a little bit
34,
past.
though. These quarterbacks.
He wasn't even that
later.
good at 32. You know what I mean? I don't want 36-year-old Kirk Cousins. Ugh. Like you saw 36-year-old Matt Ryan. That wasn't good.
You know what you're gonna get? You know what you're guaranteed to get from 36-year-old Kirk Cousins?
What?
4,000 yards and 28 plus touchdowns. It's a lock. I mean, the guy does it every year.
I think he's gonna fall apart pretty soon. I was looking at it. The quarterbacks who won Super Bowls after 34, like 35 and up, they're all pretty much Hall of Famers or borderline Hall of Famers. Staubach, Plunkett, Brady, Elway, Unitas, Elway, Brady, Manning, Brady. Those are the guys who win it when they're really old. Kirk Cousins is all of a sudden going to break through at 36. No, it's not going to happen. I think he's pretty much done right now. He was 34 last year. He had his chance. He blew it a million times.
If Kirk Cousins was inexpensive, could you believe it more?
Yeah.
Or is it the price tag that comes with it?
Vish had an interesting one yesterday on the show. Shout out Vish. He said Dak. Dak is 29. He'd be 31 in a couple years. I don't know.
Look at that contract though. Look at that contract though. He's not getting out of it for another 3 years probably. So if Dak comes here, Dallas has to.
Hey, Vish said it. Ask Vish. He's smart. He probably thought it through.
No. It was a really good thing. In fact, Vish made me pull up Spotrac and look. I'm like, hold on a second. Where's his contract at? Because Vish kind of predicted the Stafford thing years ahead. Let me double check this. And I was like, I don't think it's feasible with his contract, but could be wrong. They're gonna have to take a massive cap
pre-June 1. Yeah,
like 50 mil, right? 25 mil if you trade him post June 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask Vish a little bit more about that one because I'm not seeing it, but I'm not a math guy. 49ers Daddy says, Grant, great shows all day. Really enjoyed the one with used car salesman, quarterback expert. You were giving him a hard time, man. Great insight and reminder that we should have taken Mac at 3. You know, it's funny. Like, he didn't say that. He said, I thought they were going to take Mac because he kind of fit. But he's like, Mac doesn't have those it qualities like Brock and Trey do. And I was like, yeah, I totally agree. So he didn't say that. He said he expected it. A lot of people expected it. But
he expected
Mac
it, but
does
he
not
also,
have. Yeah.
He also was like, oh, I get why they didn't take Mac.
Yeah.
Once that didn't happen.
Yeah, Mac throws a nice ball for sure. So does Zach Wilson. Neither one's a good quarterback at all.
Yeah, not yet anyways. Not yet.
Yeah, so not yet. Robert Tuncap says, can you ask Kyle at the next press conference if there will be a quarterback comp if Brock is healthy by training camp week 1 or is he just going to start? Good question. It's hard to pin Kyle down on hypotheticals, He can always be like, well, I don't know if we're going to be alive tomorrow or we have to wait until see.
Only God knows.
We have to wait and see him throw, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Hero Winchester says, hey, Grant, looking for an unpaid intern to take to OTAs and games. I can help take notes, record, bounce ideas off from, and so on. Where can I apply? Hero Winchester, if I could just get credentials, man, I'd be giving them out to all my collaborators. I promise I would. So I don't have that kind of pull. They don't like me that much. They do like me a little bit, though. You could tell Kyle. He's starting to warm up. You can see it.
Come around. Yeah, he is.
Glass half full guy says, with the new tight ends the Niners drafted, is there any way Dwelly and Werner make the team? I'm not really seeing it. Yes. If the Niners are trying to become more of a 2 tight end offense, well, it behooves you to have 4 tight ends. Because if you only have 3, well, yeah, I'm just saying, you might want to have 2, especially if you have a backup F, a backup Y, something like that.
I could be wrong, but as soon as they drafted Braden Willis, I tweeted out, this is not a tight end replacement. This is a use check replacement. I could be wrong about that. I just feel like they're going to try to turn him into that type of player for him.
Manny PSF 95 says, would they win with both, a la Young Montana? Yeah, they could win, a few playoff games. I don't know. We'll have to see if this team can break through. They've had issues. It stems with the offensive line. They're not doing their young quarterback any favors. McCaffrey helps. We'll see.
They could absolutely they could win. I mean, when you are almost a lock if you're healthy to be a Final Four team, you've got a shot. But
I wish I could have seen Debo's conditioning yesterday. It's too bad.
Yeah, well, he'll show you.
Is he posting on Twitter? I'm blocked.
I don't
Anything?
know. Twitter is such a. I don't even see people that I used to interact with on a regular basis. I don't see
Twitter really fell off.
It really did fall off. It's just not that fun anymore. I gotta be
Battle
real.
Beast 19 says, sorry, Grant. I don't know. I know I've been going on like a broken record, but I strongly believe if Purdy plays this year, it'll be bad. Schedule's way different. BP has a highlight reel of turnovers in college. It's bad. That is true, man. He turned over the ball a lot in college.
It may be. And I can understand why people would have that thought. I just think at some point that as fans, if that's the route that it takes, let's just get on board. You know what I mean? Figure it out, get on board, and then also know that Trey's probably still going to get a chance at some point. It's just the way that this quarterback thing works in San Francisco. So it's not, there's nothing written in stone based off of a week 1 starter. But I do agree, if he has maybe 2 weeks before the start of the season to throw and compete like in a competitive manner, and then start week 1, Brock Purdy's eventually going to lose. I promise that he will actually lose a game, and he's not going to look good. That's going to happen at some point in his career, I promise. And if it happens to be week 1, it's
I'm
not,
saying,
it's
like,
not going to go
this
great.
Pittsburgh defense is legit. Like,
yeah,
he didn't. What's the best defense he beat last year? Dallas. But Dallas, I mean, Tony Pollard got hurt. They scored 19 points. Like, they didn't exactly light it up against Dallas. So, okay, they put a bunch of points on Washington. Okay, Washington's pretty good.
They also got really good starting field position. They were at their 45-yard line and in for like 5 drives in that game.
Exactly.
They got great field position.
So this Pittsburgh's going to be a lot tougher on the road, week 1. I mean, it wasn't. He didn't light up Dallas. It didn't go great against Philly. You know what's going to happen against Pittsburgh? I'm a little nervous for him, man. They got to be careful.
It may not be him. It could be Trey, and I think either one could struggle. This is not just a Brock Purdy thing. It's a realistic thought that the week 1 quarterback / week 1 team, not just quarterback, could potentially struggle a little bit. I think that's realistic.
Nansature says Brock could be Breeze 2.0. Not as in player, but as in might win early, then bleeds your franchise for 15 years and no more rings with a lesser arm. That's always the funnest, right? But that's where the Niners are at right now. Sort of playoff purgatory, always in the mix, just with different quarterbacks. Marco Bravo, $2. Thank you. Masature, an arm like Brock's doesn't keep 8 out the box. That's my whole point. That's I look at him as from a defensive coordinator's perspective. What coverages are you calling? Why would you call too deep? Why would you take an 8th man out of the box ever against him? I wouldn't. Especially against the Niners. I mean, they want to run. Like, please, dude, throw down the field. I want you to. I'm daring you to throw it outside the numbers. I don't think you can. I think the ball's going to hang up and I'm going to intercept it. Go ahead. I'll take my chances.
Yeah,
back me off. Prove me wrong.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I would prefer to have that he had a stronger arm. Absolutely.
I mean, that's why he dropped. Brother Bob says, has Larry Tripp, you called Purdy noodle arm. In my defense, I called him noodle arm a long time ago. I don't know if Larry knows. Don't tell him. Brock equals Christian Baker Mayfield, LOL. Oh. Baker doesn't have any of the qualities that Brock has, but he has a stronger arm.
No, they're both, to me, they're so polar opposites. From a mental standpoint, Brock is here.
Yeah.
Baker's always been here. And then from an arm standpoint, you can flip-flop that because Baker has actually a pretty strong arm.
He does. NG49 says, Grant, screw everyone. Garcia was the man. Thank you. Thank you.
I love it. Hold on. Do I like Garcia? See what's happened here? Do I like Garcia? Did I really enjoy watching him play? That game against the Giants, that comeback, one of my favorite, probably my second most memorable game of all time as a 49er fan. But
how many quarterbacks were better than him? No. I want to go through it right now. How many quarterbacks were better than Jeff Garcia in 99, 2000, 2001? Those 3 years. Like
Kurt Warner.
Okay. Honestly,
just off the top of my head, Kurt Warner, Brett Favre,
Peyton Manning.
Well, I don't know. Was Peyton Manning?
I don't even know if Peyton Manning was better. I'm gonna give you Peyton Manning.
But you know who was? Air McNair was, no doubt about it. He won a league MVP, did he not? Did he not win a league MVP?
Later,
close to a Super Bowl?
Was McNair really better than Garcia? I'm taking Garcia over McNair.
Oh, okay. All right.
McNair had great defenses in Tennessee. Great defenses. And he had Eddie George. Now, Jeff Garcia did have that guy named Terrell Owens. He was pretty good. And Charlie Garner. McNair? That's the best you could do? McNair and McNabb? Okay.
I can't even remember.
So there's a possibility that Garcia was the fourth best.
Big numbers. Go look at Drew Bledsoe's numbers for a while.
I'll take Garcia. Thanks. All day, baby. Fourth best quarterback in the league, baby. No, it was definitely Favre, Warner, and in the NFC, I thought Garcia was the third guy. That's why he was the Pro Bowler like 3 years in a row. It was those three, I think.
You know what?
And then the AFC, I don't know.
Now the argument started.
Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon was tearing it up. Don't forget about Rich.
Rich Gannon, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he was up there. Okay, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, yes, he was having good seasons back then.
Yeah,
Kurt Warner. You know who led the league in passing in 1999? You ready for this? Steve Berline.
With Carolina?
Yes.
Wow.
Steve Berline.
What a weird year. Not Warner.
Nope.
Huh.
Brad Johnson was killing it in Washington. He had 4,000.
He's a great player. Yards. Franchise quarterback. Timothy Glander says the term franchise quarterback to me is owner talk. The face of the franchise that puts fans in the seats. I want our quarterback to have the word elite instead. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, because Jimmy had that franchise quarterback, right? He talks, you look at his face, the cut of his jaw. It's like, no, none of that matters. He's not elite.
Okay, I feel like we're splitting hairs.
Of course, so we do.
Jim Harbaugh had a better season in '99 than Jeff Garcia. Okay, so I feel like we're splitting hairs.
In '99, hold on. Garcia, we went 2-8 in '99. 2000, 2001. He went on a three-peat like the Lakers from 2000 to 2001 to 2002. He was essentially Shaq of the NBA, mixed with Kobe and a little bit of Rick Fox. Just saying.
Oh, you know who else was really good back then? Poor man Steve Young, Mark Brunell was pretty good. Dante Culpepper was killing it. I'm just saying.
He was pretty good. NG49 says it's wrong to rush Brock back from an injury where not long ago this injury took TJ surgery. Quick fix, rush back, now 17 game seasons. Let Trey cook. Nah, I'm Team Darnold, baby. He hasn't gotten a chance. He needs one more chance.
I'm Team Brandon Allen. He went 7 for 7 yesterday. I'm sold. That's all
That's
it
right.
takes.
It's a competition.
Right?
It's a competition. Yeah. I thought it was a competition.
I agree.
Thought it was a competition. Well, Brandon just won. Gavin Van Deen says, I'm starting from the beginning, so you're way past this, but they changed the order on the posted press conference too. Trey, Brock, Sam. That is interesting. They changed the order when they posted it online because the order in real life, IRL, was Brock, Sam, Trey.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I still don't think it means anything. But
well, in real life, you save the starter for the end, but on a YouTube video, you might just feature the starter. So that's what people want to. I mean, let's be frank. When I make a video about Trey Lance, he gets a lot more views than when I make a video about Brock Purdy. People want to see Trey Lance. They want to hear about Trey Lance. Am I wrong?
No, I get more hits on Trey Lance than I do Brock Purdy.
Frank Tom Motion says, thanks for the Monday night show with Jesse. Your second best show next to you and your pops. Frank, I got a question.
This is Wednesday. Today's Wednesday.
What day of the week do you think it is? Thank you. David W. says, who gets the fifth running back spot? Labor and TDP. Could another third rounder be released? Let's not write off TDP just yet because Labor can always go to the practice squad. Like, no one's taking Labor. TDP, I think best case scenario is he comes in with some urgency, looks good, and keeps that job for a little bit. You don't want to just throw away third round picks. So I'll give him this. He was running real hard yesterday, which is good because I didn't always think he did last year in practice. So running hard. Yeah,
well, he had the blueprint of Sermon getting cut last year. So he knows he's got it. He's really got to figure it out. I do want to say, shout out Frank Tom Ocean. He's always a supporter of my channel as well. Appreciate you, but that's pretty funny. Wednesday, it's Wednesday.
Yeah, you might want to know that. Aniket says, hot take, Debo is traded next year. Ayuk gets a contract, not as lucrative. Niners draft another wideout in round 1. Debo pick. Oh. GK stays. If they could work it out financially, I'm not against it because, yikes. Last year, I felt he was a better running back than wide receiver. He doesn't seem interested in being a leader. He's not at OTAs. Like, you don't have to practice. Show up. Fred Warner did. What the hell? But no, he does. He's good. Yeah. So I don't know. And you always got to wonder, like, is he going to be in his top shape? Like, I don't want to wonder about that at 26. If you can't consistently be in your top shape at this point in your career, like McCaffrey figured it out. He's a pro. How many years in the league does it take before you're a pro's pro? Maybe you're just not. I'm sorry.
I think one thing that has always served me well in life is control your controllables. And that is something that is fully within his control. So he may not even be out of shape. He may be in phenomenal shape. But if he is out of shape, that's completely within his control.
I'd much rather have gotten Baker than Darnold, though.
Carolina thought the same thing last year.
True. I've seen Baker in person twice. I thought he was
Baker.
dreadful.
Hate him.
Dreadful.
As a quarterback. I don't hate him as a person. I don't have a vendetta against him. But
he's awful.
I hated him coming out of the draft. I hate his demeanor. I hate the way he carries himself. Sam may not be a leader, but he's not. He also doesn't think he's like king-ish either, the way that Baker did for a while.
You could say, though, that Darnold has at least had some success in the NFL. Excuse me. Baker's had some success in the NFL, sure. Unlike Darnold. He's played in playoff games. He's won a playoff game, I believe. And he's a little bit older, and he's more confident. He's you got a point. Anyway, Chris Tellerico says it's not this season's week 1 starters next. What the hell do you do with Trey and Brock next season? In my opinion, you can beat Brock with cover 1 every play. It's not good enough to win. That's how I feel. Like, a lot of teams aren't going to run cover 1 every play because in the regular season they're going to do what they do. But in the playoffs, there'll be games plan specific. There'll be opponent specific. You're going to run into that. It's going to be tough.
I agree with Chris on this standpoint that the most important thing to come out of this season, although winning a Super Bowl would be great, obviously that would be fantastic. The most important thing is to figure out if you do have a franchise quarterback and to isolate that guy going forward and week 1 starter next year. If it is that franchise guy, you're going to be competing for many, many years to come if he's on the roster.
NG49 says Garcia first round.
It was legendary. It was legendary. That game was legendary. Yes.
If I remember correctly, his game-winning touchdown throw was to Ty Streets.
I think. Yeah.
Ty Streets. Left
to
the left in the end zone.
Yep.
Yeah. Nee says, "Don't worry about week 1. We're starting at a." Poor
That's all I took from the press
all
conference.
He was doing was doing his job. God. It was funny, though. Anakin says, hot take, Debo's traded next year. We already got you, baby. Twice? Thank you, Anakin. I appreciate it. The coach who just texted me about
thing,
this.
And I don't want to put you in an awkward situation, but it reminded me of my kids when they learn something new. They just kind of go to it over and over. Felt like he just learned what torrid meant and was like, you know what? I'm gonna use the hell out of this word in this press conference.
Yeah, it's a good word though. I'm gonna use it as much as possible.
It is actually
so the coach just texted me. He said my super chat is woefully wrong. Flame me. Jeff Garcia had better years than what I put up. So I guess I don't know. He's talking about 1992, 93. Yeah, man. Coach, love you. You're a little wrong. Let me just remind people his best years. So he took over like midway through in 99. He was 29. It didn't go well. He was a starter in 2000. He went 6-10. But he threw for 4,200 yards and 31 touchdowns. Like, no Niners quarterback has come close. Well, I guess Jimmy came close, but no one's touched those numbers since him. Then in 2001, he went for 3,500 yards and 32 touchdowns. And then in 2002, he went for, he was 10-6 with like 33. So really 2 years. Goes back, he threw for 63 touchdowns in 2 years. I mean, you could scoff at that. I know a lot of other quarterbacks do that these days, but not on the 49ers.
I definitely don't scoff at it. It was a good couple year run, but he wasn't.
Kirk Cousins could match those numbers.
He's another list of guys that put together some seasons, but ultimately was not the dude. He's another cautionary tale of why you don't buy into a player after 8 starts. Is basically what he was.
Good point. Monsa Toure says Leyburn has better hands. TDP is in trouble. That is true. He is in trouble. And he's got to do his best. How about them Niners? Says you should see if Garcia can come on the show, Grant. Ask him about his backstory and journey. It's really crazy and would be a great show. Look it up. I've interviewed him before. Last time I called him, he didn't answer or get back to me. But I'm still a fan. I don't know. I think he's tired. But maybe now that I'm super famous, he might want to come on the show. I don't know. He ghosted me last time, but I'm still Ride or die, Jeff Garcia. Wednesday show. LOL.
Yeah,
Fair
there
enough.
we go. There he is.
Monster Torre says, elephant in the room. If Kyle can win with anyone, why do Niner fans assume they can't risk losses with Trey? Haha. If you believe in Kyle, you do. Lots of Niner fans reaching at straws and being contradictive. That's a good point. He win with
That is
anyone.
actually
Kyle's
a
so
really
great,
good
except for
point.
Trey.
Yeah. I don't believe that Kyle can win with anybody. So that's why I say he's got to find the franchise quarterback. But you are right about that.
Monster said I was going to flame coach.
Yeah,
man. 1992. He was like in high school. Maybe no. He was at San Jose State at that point, going against Stanford and John Lynch.
Who's the other guy that had the last name Garcia that you were looking up? That's the real question.
Yeah, good point. All right. So someone's going to start week 1 for the 49ers at quarterback. Most likely. I'm 87% sure they'll have a starting quarterback week 1.
Yeah.
Will that guy have a short leash? I mean, Jimmy never did, but Jimmy had a huge contract. These guys don't. And although there's a big investment in Trey, the Niners are pretending like there isn't. So how does this work? Do you think they make a decision and then they change their mind quickly? Like, how's this going to go?
Yeah, I don't think, when I say short leash, I don't mean that after week 1 this player is getting benched. That would shock me. But I think there's this thought that, oh, well, Kyle just always sticks with his guys. It's like, well, hold on. He's never really had a chance to not stick with the guy. Who is going to bring out or put in instead of Jimmy Garoppolo? And when he had the one chance for Trey Lance, Trey hurt himself in the Arizona game, but whispers did come out that if he was healthy, he would have started against the Colts. So that's one right there. He was willing to potentially make that move. Then number 2, there was whispers if Trey Lance lost week 2 to Seattle that they might pull him and put Jimmy in. So if we are to believe that those rumors are true, then maybe he isn't so patient. Yeah, he makes a decision, but if he truly believes what he said a couple months ago and has been saying, first it started with 2 starting quarterbacks. Now they think they have 3. Well, if he truly believes that, and all of a sudden one guy isn't starting level caliber, 4. If he truly believes that, and one guy isn't starting level caliber all of a sudden, then it's like, well, I feel like I've got another guy on the bench that is, so I'll go to the next one.
Hey, did you see Brandon Allen yesterday? 7 for 7.
Right.
Like just a total natural. Hey, who cares? It's always the lowest man on the total poll at wide receiver, at running back and quarterback who operate the best on this team. Count out Brandon Allen at your own peril. Everyone talking about Sam Darnold. Yeah, we'll see. I'm a big Brandon Allen guy at this point. So yeah, when Brandon Allen goes to Pittsburgh and puts up 350 and 3 tutties, what are we gonna say? I don't know. Is he a franchise quarterback? Got to not go there.
Sounds to me like Brandon Allen put up NFC Championship stats last night or yesterday. That's great. That's good for him.
Hey, if they had Brandon Allen instead of Josh Johnson, it could have been a whole different story.
So yeah, I do. I think whoever starts week 1, Grant, definitely has a short leash. And it doesn't matter who it is. It could be Darnold, it could be Purdy, it could be Lance, it could be Allen. Whoever it is, yes, I do. I think we're looking at somebody that could get pulled very quickly if it goes south. Yes.
That doesn't inspire confidence. Like, is this going to be a rotation throughout the year where Kyle Shanahan gets mad, pulls him, goes to someone else because he thinks anyone else can win, and then gets mad, pulls him?
It's easy, Grant. It's easy for him, and the talk track's already there. Okay, let's work through Purdy real quick. So let's say Purdy comes back. He's there for 2-3 weeks before the season starts. They throw him in week 1 against Pittsburgh. Doesn't look great. They lose. They beat the Rams. It doesn't look great. He's struggling, whatever.
Just say he had a setback.
Yeah. You know what? He wasn't as healthy as what we thought. The best thing
we said he was 100%, but we lied to you.
Yep. We thought he was. Best thing for Brock is to give him more time.
Shut him down.
There's your shut him down. Trey Lance, it's like, oh, well, Brock was always our starter anyways. We were just waiting for him to get healthy.
Yeah, we're not benching Trey. It's not that we're benching Trey. It's just that
we love Trey still.
Oh, he was so good.
Brock's our starter. I mean, we were clear about that during the offseason. He's just now healthy. The top tracks are there. So, yes, I definitely.
What I'd love to hear is them trying to explain Sam Darnold starting week 1. I'd love to hear that. Sell that to me.
Yeah.
Come on. Give me the elevator pitch.
Especially if you have to go to Trey because Brock isn't fully back yet. That one would be hard.
It just seems like another one of Kyle's like best intentions. I'll just have a quarterback competition. It'll work out. What? It's fair. It's fair. Yeah, But like what you're creating is a team with no quarterback, and you're just no one. What if no one really wins it? And Darnold has a good day one day, and Trey has a good day the next day, and Brandon Allen has a good day the third, and you eventually have to make an unpopular decision that only like some of the team is behind. What are you going to do? I don't know. Get him next year.
Right.
Get him next year. All right, let's get off the quarterback. Which rookie has the best chance to start? And I was thinking like excluding Jake Moody. Actually, that dude is in a full-blown kicker competition. Never seen anything like it. And so far, it is neck and neck between him and Zane Gonzalez. Let's not just count out Zane. Zane's got pedigree. Zane's been in the league. I mean, damn. So, yeah, I'm just saying. It could be Jake.
What kind of disaster would it be if Zane actually beats him out? Talk about that disaster. Wow.
I wouldn't be mad at all. I don't root for this team. That'd be hilarious to me.
Of course.
That'd be hilarious to me. Sorry, Jake. I'm sure you get another job. But, like, they're talking about, oh, man, these kickoffs, these touchbacks, like, Yeah, and then they changed the rule.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So
Dang.
the 49ers always talk about competition. And every spot's open for competition. But reality is most of the starting positions are set at this point, barring any sort of injury or major breakout from a rookie. So the way that I see it is there's one spot that is legit open for competition that a rookie happened to be drafted at that position, and that is linebacker. And so to me, D. Winters would be that guy. Now, the issue with that is you said he came in a little soft maybe and didn't look quite
I don't
ready.
want to say that. I don't want to say that. I'll take that back. That's harsh.
Okay.
I was saying like, does he look like Dre Greenlaw? That's what they compared him to. Have you seen Dre Greenlaw with his shirt off?
Yeah, no, that's not fair.
He doesn't look like Dre Greenlaw. He's his own guy. That's all I wanted to say. I didn't want to say
okay.
fat or anything. That's not fair.
All right.
That's not fair.
Okay. So
yeah,
maybe is this fair? Maybe he hasn't found his NFL body yet.
I would say that's fair.
Okay.
He looks like a college player. He doesn't look like a fat guy. He looks like a college player. Yeah.
No. Okay.
Dre Greenlaw never looked like. Dre Greenlaw came in jacked. I was like, who the hell was this fifth round pick? Whoa, with the neck and everything, like Takeo Spikes.
He did. But you don't have to have the greatest physique necessarily to be productive. He could be a very productive athlete still. And so for me, I loved everything.
I mean, Oren Burks isn't an option.
No.
Demetrius Flanagan Foles. No.
I don't think so.
Sorry.
It's McCrary Ball is the leader in the clubhouse, probably.
Yeah. For now. But that guy's never played a regular season snap. Am I wrong? I don't think he has. I don't think he has. I could be wrong.
No, I don't think so. He was on the practice squad a lot of last year.
He's got a nice NFL body. He's got to prove it.
Yeah.
D. Winters. So yeah, D. Winters is one. That strong side linebacker is an important spot. Like,
yes.
Aziz was really good. He was really good. You think, okay, well, they only play. No. They play a lot, and it's a physical division, and Aziz was really good, and who's going to step up?
Yeah. And D. Winters could be that guy.
Could be.
So,
could be.
I think the path to starting is most open for D. Winters out of all the rookies.
Yeah, I mean, the other one would be Jair Brown, and you're thinking, Tashawn Gibson, he could lose that job right there, like Jimmy Ward lost his job. No one thought that was going to happen last year.
Yeah.
Also, Hufanga. I'm going to throw this out there. We don't know how Steve Wilks feels about Hufanga. We don't know. Like, Hufanga had a nice year. He was D'Amico's guy. He also gave up a bunch of touchdowns and played some hero ball and had to rein himself in. We have no idea how Wilks feels about any of that. So, I don't know. Jair Brown, kind of similar skill set to Hufanga. Is he a compliment to Hufanga or is he a duplicate of Hufanga? I'm curious. I just don't know where Wilks is coming from. We'll have to see. I always thought you would want to pair Hufanga with someone a little faster, but maybe two Hufangas can play next to each other.
Well, the question is, the 49ers the last couple of years have done a lot of three safeties on the field. And last year was a little bit different because Ward was actually the nickel corner also, so technically. But the year prior, they found ways to get Hufanga on the field to kind of groom him and get him ready for the next season. And it was a great game plan. It worked out really well for him because we saw the leap he took in year 2. The question is can Jair Brown play with two guys that are kind of similar to him? Can all three of those guys be on the field at the same time? I don't know.
Well, the thing about Gibson is like he's not super fast, but he is a pure single high free safety ball hawk. He's been doing it his whole career. Single high, intercept passes. He has
Yeah.
great instincts and a great burst or whatever. He's good at it. Like, I wouldn't trust Hufanga in that role. I wouldn't want Hufanga
No.
playing single high. Like, they're a nice combination because Hufanga you want in the box. You don't want him in man-to-man coverage. You don't want him in single high safety. You want him in the box. So
Right.
Gibson's a nice combination. So is Jair Brown a single high safety? Can he do that? Because if he's not, then you can't really bring Hufanga down the box. You have to be a split safety team. Like, what do you like? I'm curious. I just want to know, what is Wilkes thinking here? Because this is his vision and this is his pick.
Yeah. One thing we do know about Hufanga, and this is where potentially you could see them on the field together, is we know Hufanga is a good blitzer. I mean, he times blitzes very, very well. So
is Brown.
Maybe
I'm telling you, their skill sets are identical.
You're right. So that's it. Maybe, bring them both near the line of scrimmage, have Gibson be the single high safety. Which one's blitzing, which one's dropping back on the rotation after the snap. Like, you can confuse people. So maybe that's where it shows up a little bit.
Sounds good. Couple more of these. I was gonna find Battle Beast 19 says Trey wants to compete equals means he's taken the job like he's done before everywhere else he's been. They bow to say Brock's not healthy to justify it.
We'll see. He definitely did take the job at NDSU, where they did bring in a transfer that was supposed to start over him. So I know it's not the NFL, but that is reality.
Art Martinez says checkmate. Well played. Well played.
Very well played.
That's a nice little punchline these days. Monster Torres says, did Jackson look as big as Kinlaw? And did you see Kalia Davis at all?
Oh, Kalia. That's a good one.
Yeah, he did kind of look as big as Kinlaw. Not that he looks like a D tackle, but Kinlaw looks like a DN. Like, Kinlaw's lean.
He's leaned up a lot.
Super lean. Thank you, Monts. Appreciate you. Kalia Davis. Yeah, he I don't know. I don't really see it with Kalia.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. I don't want to write him off yet. I'm waiting to. His body's nothing special.
What did you think of DJ Jones before he had the breakout season? If you can remember back then.
I always thought DJ Jones moved extremely well for someone who was like round. He's he's like the roundest football player I've ever seen, and he was extremely explosive. I was always pretty impressed with it. I'm not sure that Kalia Davis seems a little top heavy.
Okay.
I don't know. His body type is a little strange. I got to see him in action. Nee says
athletic.
I can't wait to see it. Nee says if CMC stays healthy, could you see him in the MVP running, offensive player of the year? Yeah, absolutely. He's sort of like the Terrell Davis of this offense, and they're not gonna rotate him. I mean,
I don't know about MVP. That just seems to be a quarterback award at this point, but offensive player of the year, yeah, for sure.
Who do you think the 5 most important players on the 49ers are? Not necessarily the best. Most important, critical, X factors, guys who must be good.
Okay. Number 1, Trent Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Because that offensive line without him, I would be terrified of what it would look like. And there just is no clear swing tackle on this team that I trust coming off the bench.
That's a good answer. I was gonna say McKivitz. Like, nah, you could probably find another McKivitz. You can't find another Trent Williams. Nah.
It goes down drastically behind Trent Williams.
Mm-hmm.
The way that I built my list was depth behind these.
I like it. Yeah.
And what they mean, right? So
I'm just gonna steal your answers like we're in high school. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. I agree. 1.
Yeah. No, I got it. So I would say Trent Williams is number 1. I would say Nick Bosa's number 2, because we don't even know who the starter opposite of him is right now.
Yeah.
If we lose Bosa, I don't believe it's going to be like it was in 2020, where they were able to manufacture
Kerry Hyder time. We're back in Kerry Hyder mode.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
True.
So I think that could be troublesome as well. I would say Charvarius Ward number 3, because I don't know what the depth looks like at corner behind he or Lenore right now. I mean, really, I could almost go him, Ward and Lenore, like 1 and 1A, as far as being number 3 on this list, because both of them, if either of them go out, I don't know. Who's it going to be? Who's the next man up?
Darrell Luter Jr. I'm a big Luter Jr. guy.
He may be fine, but he's still a rookie.
He's the greatest corner of all time. He's great.
Is he?
Perfect.
Okay.
He's so good.
Is he the Jeff Garcia of corners?
He's the Joe Williams of corners.
So Charvarius Ward would be number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Warner would be number 4. They don't have Aziz anymore. So if Fred Warner goes out, I mean, the drop-off could be significant.
Who's the middle linebacker? Oren Burks?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would put him at number 4. And although I like the depth behind this player, I have to put him at 5 because they didn't lose once he was integrated on this team. CMC. CMC has to be on this list because of that.
I was going to go a different direction. That's interesting.
I like it. Go ahead.
One. I was with you until that last one. So give me your 5 again.
Okay, so it's Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, Charvarius Ward, Fred Warner, CMC.
That's fair. I mean, their offense got so much better when Christian McCaffrey got here. So much better. And when they lost Debo, they didn't miss a beat at all. What about Ayuk, though? He's like the only legit wide receiver on the team. Like, his skill set, like, I feel like if they had Mason and Mitchell and Debo and Ayuk and Kittle, like, they could still have a really good offense without McCaffrey. But if you take Ayuk out, like, that's your guy who beats one-on-one man coverage. That's your guy. That's a tough one. I might go with Ayuk. Just off depth. Because who starts if it's not Ayuk? It's split end. Freaking Danny Gray?
I could put
Chris
Kittle
Conley?
on that list too. Does Kittle have an argument? Who's behind Kittle?
Oh, Braden Willis out here making one-handed catches left and right.
Especially if Brock Purdy starts. The way that CMC and Kittle, like, he fed both of those guys like crazy. If one of them is out of the lineup, it could change everything for him.
I guess that's why they drafted Cam Latu, the next Tony Gonzalez. I don't see it yet.
That would
be worried about fantastic. Cam Latu. I feel like Cam's going to show it. We're either going to see it or we won't when the pads go on and it's games, because he's supposed to be like the dude who rumbles over people. Because he didn't catch nothing, not a nair nutta. Yes, like right now in these 7-on-7s, it's like Ronnie Bell, Braden Willis time. Those guys are just quick.
Ronnie Bell's showing out, isn't he?
Oh, Braden Willis too. The 2 7th rounders. But it's just 7-on-7. It's not even really football. It's like basketball on grass.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, David at Backcountry Fam on Twitter, he was huge on Bell when they made that pick. He was like, I'm telling you, this is a dude. Immediately,
so far, so good. He's
immediately
right.
said that. So
I got one that we left off. We got to find a place for him. Jake Moody.
Oh,
he's really important. Now, it's possible they could just
what if he just gets beat out by Zane Gonzalez? Is he important?
Yeah. What if they just bring Robbie Gold back like week 10?
Oh,
they could
do possibility. Actually,
they could do that. Yeah.
Mason Crosby's still out there, but you're right. Whoever the kicker is very important. Very important. And you're right.
That guy could become the scapegoat so quickly.
We assume that it's Moody, but
yeah,
I mean, that's
Zane.
The team leader in points is usually your kicker. So pretty important. And if they missed on that, that could be huge. That's a good point. I think there's a lot of people we could put at number 5 or honorable mention. I think Ayuk has a case. I think Lenore has a case.
I
think Kittle has a case. Moody has a case.
Tabor Pepper. No one ever talks about Tabor Pepper, but if he doesn't nail his job every time.
What were we just talking about?
You lose.
What game were we just talking about? And what was that game centered around? Why did the Giants end up losing that game?
Because their long snapper did something stupid. He missed the guy, and he ran back, and he threw it, and then there should have been pass interference. But he should have lost that game.
But he was missing snaps. Towards the end, he missed like 3 snaps, and they couldn't get the field goals off. That's why the 49ers came back. I think his name was like Tim Junkin. You don't know long snappers' names until you know them. And then
Brian Jennings was the guy forever, and then he started missing them, and then Tabor Pepper came to the rescue, and no one wants to give him any credit. I mean, it's disgusting.
Yep.
I'm outraged.
He's outraged even. Okay.
I am incensed. All right. I'm over it.
Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. So you had about 30 seconds of just
I'm over it now. It's okay. Tabor Pepper, I'm on your side.
Trey
Chris
Junkin was
Alerico
his
says
name. Trey
Niners
Junkin.
aren't winning. Oh, who? Trey Junkin?
Trey Junkin. Yep, that was the long
Oh,
snapper, I
poor
think, for the
Trey.
Giants that just screwed it up.
Niners aren't winning the Super Bowl this season. The season has to be about what Trey's got. They have to decide on his option. I'd love to hear Lynch and Sandy explain him succeeding on on his next team. It's hard to say it's not a win now season when you just signed Javon Hargrave. Like, give it a shot.
Impossible.
Run it up the flagpole. See where you go. Nee says if CMC stays healthy, could you see him in the MVP running? Didn't we get you already? I can see it.
Yeah.
Skip mine, Grant. Oh, I did skip you. My bad. Sorry, but I got you though. The coach says funny. Nobody mentioned Debo, and I agree. Yeah, Debo went from being like the guy who carries the team to the guy who's almost not necessary anymore.
Yes.
Superfluous.
If you can get assets for your top players on this team, Debo would be the first one that you would probably shop if you were looking to gain assets.
Because, and if we're being honest, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just saying, because he's the most redundant as far as what his skill set is, and CMC frankly does it better.
Yeah, if you had known that they were going to get Christian McCaffrey, that you would have just traded Debo to the Jets.
Yes.
Take him. We'll take Garrett Wilson, Rookie of the Year. Thank you very much. Christian McCaffrey, boom. I mean, that would have been the move, but you didn't do it. Yeah. I didn't know.
Nobody
My
knew.
fault.
Nobody.
I'll take that. Quality control was not in control of the situation, but now we are. All right.
But it was quality, even though he wasn't in control.
That's true. At least I had the quality.
Yeah.
There's no control.
He was there.
Are you doing a call-in show now?
I am. I'm going to do a call-in show here in 10 minutes. Yes, sir.
Nice. All right.
I know I said that last week, but I had some important stuff come up. I ended up canceling the show like right after I got an important phone call. So, but this week I'm in. Got the show. I promise. 10 minutes.
All right. Well, I hope it's okay. I'm going to go take my wife out to dinner because I'm married.
Oh, I like it.
Did you know that?
Grant's married. I didn't.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm
going to take my wife out to dinner.
Oh.
Pretty nice.
Grant's married.
No big deal. Humble brag.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, that joke. I love it.
Thank you. I don't even think it's that funny. But everyone, thanks for watching. I will be back tomorrow streaming and such. Have a great day.
And such.